The holiday season brings so much excitement and joy, whether it's getting together with your friends and family, doing arts and crafts with your loved ones, or decorating your home and staying in theme. But with all of this excitement, of course, there are risks and maybe even some dangers that your children may face during this time. On this episode of Ask the Doc, no appointment needed, I will help you prevent any or protect your child against any dangers that they may face during this exciting holiday season.
Funding for this program is brought to you by Michael J. Zinner, MD.
Send in your questions to questions@allhealthtv.com or AllHealthGo on Facebook or YouTube, or visit the Ask the Doc page on our website, allhealthtv.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Scarlet Constant, board-certified pediatrician and founder of Constant Care Pediatrics here in Miami, Florida. On this episode of Ask the Doc, no appointment needed, I ask you to send in your questions and I will answer them now, live in real time. Here are some questions coming in now from the All Health TV app. The first one is from Daniela. Hi, Dr. Constant. I love poinsettias at Christmas, but I recently heard that they can be toxic for pets. Does this also hold true for adorable toddlers who have a tendency to put things in their mouths that they shouldn't? Well, Daniela, I also love poinsettias and I can't buy enough for my home. I find them to be totally Christmas themed. But yes, you are right. There are some risks to having them around with pets and young ones. But let's take a look at this video from the Mayo Clinic and I'll get back to you.
People on ladders stringing holiday lights. It's a common sight these days, and so are trips to the emergency room, says Mayo Clinic's Dr. Michael Boniface.
Falls from heights of greater than 3 to 5 feet, depending on how you land, can result in hip fractures, internal bleeding, and head injuries and concussions.
Dr. Boniface says because our daily routine changes during the holidays, safety sometimes can be a challenge, especially with children.
Children have a tendency to put things in their mouths, chew on them, eat them.
It can be electrical extension cords going to your Christmas tree. It can also be small little ornaments or decorations that they could lodge up their nose or aspirate into their lungs. Dr. Boniface says if you put up a live Christmas tree in your home, make sure you keep it well watered.
The drier it gets, the more prone it is to igniting and causing a fire.
And always be careful when lighting candles.
If you keep out open flames and candles, be aware that children, animals may knock those over, so to keep them out of reach of where they may encounter them.
For the Mayo Clinic News Network, I'm Ian Roth.
So as you can see in the video, yes, there are many risks when having a little toddler around, and we have some choking hazards and decorations that might pose a bit of a threat. But in reality, if you are able to teach your children, well, put things out of the reach of your young toddlers. If they're toddlers that would actually put things in their mouth and still bite or swallow or put up their nose, then you really want to keep them out of reach of the toddlers. And as far as the plans, I think it's important to show your child that they don't go in the mouth and that it could be harmful, so that they won't try, they'll usually try to eat it out of curiosity. But if you address the concern initially, usually they won't put it in their mouth and they won't try to eat it. Kids tend to not want to eat plants or flowers, so I wouldn't worry too much. But again, if you can put them in locations that are still decorative, but out of the reach of your toddler, I think that's the best idea for everyone. And that so you can go to work with the ease and not worrying about your child eating the flowers. I also want to stress the importance of putting small objects that are decorative but could be a choking hazard out of reach of your child. So even when you're decorating the Christmas tree, if you could put those ornaments at the top and then the bigger ornaments that you're not so worried about closer to the bottom of the tree, that is usually the best way to prevent an unfortunate accident at home. Okay, here is another question from our Facebook page. This is from Charlie. Hola, doctora. My wife and I used to love traveling during the holidays, visiting with family or going to exotic destinations. But after bringing home our little bundle of joy, we remained homebound for a couple of years. Now that she's 3, we're ready to fly again. This would be her first time on a plane, so we'd love some advice. Well, Charlie, good luck, because 3 is probably the most difficult time to have a child on a plane, as they are mobile, they walk, they are most likely potty trained, so you'll have to bring her to the airplane lavatory or the restroom at the airport. So there are a lot of moving parts with a little toddler. So just a little bit of advice to you is, first of all, try your hardest to get a direct flight. I know that sometimes financially that might not be possible or feasible, but if you could get a direct flight, it's a lot easier. It eliminates a lot more airport travel time with your toddler. And with that, on the flight, you want to make sure that you provide some snacks for her, because they don't always love the airplane food or snacks that are provided. So maybe some of her favorite snacks in a backpack that she could have throughout the flight. And also 2 or 3 of her favorite little toys that she likes to play with. Of course, you don't want a toy that has many loose objects, because they would, fall down on the plane and fall under the seat. You want something that's easy, maybe 2 or 3 pieces that she could put together, something like a coloring book or a puzzle that she could work on with big pieces, but just something that that you wouldn't worry about losing on the plane, but also would keep her pretty busy. And finally, as much as we try to decrease the amount of screen time, you obviously want to reserve that tablet for the flight or for the airport time, because that's always a home run with the toddlers. So good luck and have a safe trip. Okay, looks like we have another question coming in, and this one is from Allie. Hi, Dr. C. We have a new baby in the house and we're so excited, but we have a large extended family with big holiday celebrations. How can we keep our little ones safe with all those people around? Well, Allie, I get this question all the time. And it's what I like to tell my families is, first of all, you want to make sure that you celebrate your holidays with family within reason. You want to make sure that you and your partner are still within your comfort level. And what I mean by that is, I don't think that you should attend a party or have a party in your home if you aren't truly comfortable with it. So if you're around people, but you won't let them touch the baby, or you're a little stressed out, you're not enjoying yourself, you're asking people to back off and not touch your child, then maybe an outing wasn't for you. Maybe that's just outside of your comfort level, and you probably should just abstain from going out. But if you are comfortable with it and you are ready to have people carry your baby or hold your baby for, brief moments of time, then I think that's a great idea. But again, make sure you do it within reason. Make sure it's with adults that you feel confident and excuse me, and trust, and you know that they would never present themselves to a gathering if they were feeling under the weather or a little bit sick. So people that you actually trust. And also, you really want to be careful around young children under the age of 5 or 6, because those are the children that tend to have their viral illnesses around the holiday season, around flu season or RSV season. So you really want to make sure you're avoiding contact with children under the age of 6. And then finally, sometimes I advise parents to maybe bring the baby closer to nap time, and then you can have them lay in a bassinet and go to sleep, so everybody can see the baby, look over and see her or him, but not necessarily hold or interact because the baby's sleeping. So it's kind of a win-win for everyone. So those are some of my anecdotal tips for you, and some things that I personally did with my little ones when we wanted to interact with our family and participate in social gatherings, but we still didn't feel it was quite safe to do so. So good luck to you. Okay, so we have another question coming in, and this is from Whitney. Dr. Constant, we have a couple of tweens who are obsessed with Halloween, and not just because of the candy. We promised them that this year they can make their own costumes and go trick-or-treating with their friends. What are some of the dangers that they may face? Well, Whitney, I think that's great that your kids are still excited about Halloween. I think Halloween is a very fun time during the adolescent phase, and I think it's great that you're letting them be a little more independent. Halloween is funny in that it is a holiday for the very, very young, as well as the tweens and adolescents, but it can be enjoyed in different ways. So what you're doing with your kids, allowing them to create their own costumes and kind of create their own outing is really great and admirable. But yes, you do want to warn them about actually going around to different neighborhoods by themselves. It'll be dark outside. They have to be very careful with the cars. Unfortunately, nowadays, a lot of people trick or treat in a car, believe it or not. So parents will have a caravan, they'll drop off a bunch of kids for a couple of houses, and then they'll speed down the street to catch them, put them back in the car, and then drive to another neighborhood. So I would say they really need to be careful with that, because these are neighborhoods where typically you're used to just a bunch of kids walking around and trick-or-treating, and you don't expect to have cars driving around. So I would have them make sure they're on alert and look over their shoulder and make sure they're paying attention to the fact that there might be one or two cars driving by unexpectedly. I would also tell them to trick or treat in a group. Don't go off by themselves, maybe one or two. Instead, you want to be in a group of maybe 5 kids or so, and travel together so that they're taking care of each other. Make sure that you go to houses. Of course, the old story that we used to say, when the lights are on, you can knock on the door. Go to houses where the lights are on, and a house where they're inviting you to come in and grab candy. Nowadays, some people put the candy outside, or they put a little ornament in the front so that you know that they're celebrating. And if a house is not well lit, it's dark, or it doesn't seem like they're very much participating, tell your children not to go knock on that door. You don't really want to upset a neighbor that's just trying to stay quiet in their home and not participate. So I would say go to well-lit homes that are inviting, that have an ornament or some type of indication that they are participating. Look out for the cars and trick or treat in a group. And then, of course, when you come home, always inspect the candy. Make sure the candy is not opened or unraveled, or looks suspicious in any way. So good luck with the trick-or-treating, and please send in your questions. If you have any questions or you don't know how to submit and you want me to answer something now, take a look at this promo to see how to do it.
Send in your questions to questions@allhealthtv.com or AllHealthGo on Facebook or YouTube, or visit the Ask the Doc page on our website, allhealthtv.com.
Okay, so we have another question that just came in through the All Health TV app, and this is from William. Hey, Dr. Constant, we really like to do it up big for the holidays, especially when it comes to cooking. Our children really want to help with holiday baking, but we need some tips to keep everyone safe. Well, I think that's great, William. I think baking as a family is so much fun. As a matter of fact, my family does it all the time. We truly enjoy it. And I think it's important, the kids love to have that autonomy. They love to follow a recipe and feel that they participated in this final product. So I think following a recipe in the kitchen, everybody kind of having their task. I let my children pretty much do the bulk of the baking, and it is safe. I would say the most important thing is to make sure an adult is the one that turns on the oven, sets the temperature, and loads the products into the oven and unloads them from the oven. Those are the things that I would always say an adult should participate in. The rest the kids could usually do on their own. But whenever you're heating a product, it's best to have an adult there present to either turn on the burner, or if it's a gas stove, to light the flame and avoid any unfortunate accidents. And the kids can add the ingredients and mix and measure. Of course, measuring is always the most important, so they can use our math skills. So measuring, sifting, stirring, those are all safe activities, and loading in and out of the oven and starting the stove is probably something that an adult should do rather than the children. Have fun. I hope you guys have a great time. Okay, it looks like we have a question coming in now from Bhavna. Hi, Bhavna. Hello, Dr. Constant. We love our pediatrician, but we know her office is closed during the holidays. What should we do if our twin toddlers or infant gets sick? We're trying to avoid going to the urgent care. That's a great question, Bhavna, because of course, many offices close and they also would like to spend the holidays with their family. Hopefully your pediatrician's office, and likely does, have an after-hours service. And what that means is you could call the office, and there's a service that takes those calls and either triages them and sends them to the doctor, or actually answers the questions on the doctor's behalf. And so usually they would be very good at guiding you and letting you know whether or not you should go to an urgent care, or if it's a matter that can be addressed on the following business day, or how to proceed. I personally, in my office, have an after-hours service with nurse practitioners. So they actually answer the questions. They not only triage, but they actually answer the questions and guide the patients. And if they need further assistance from a physician, then they contact me. So find out with your pediatrician's office if they offer the same thing. Okay, here's another question. This question is from Davante. Our children are biracial and interfaith, so we celebrate both Hanukkah and Christmas. When they were infants, we had no problem lighting the ceremonial candles, but now that they're toddlers, we're a little concerned that they'll reach for the flames or knock something over. Do you have any guidance on how to keep those traditions safe while still letting them be part of the experience? Devante, I think that's a beautiful thing that you're incorporating both traditions. I think it's very important to maintain throughout their lives. So they see the importance of tradition and they understand their culture and their religion. You can absolutely continue doing that. I would say that you would light the first candle and you would actually hold the candles together, both hands, so that you can, so they feel that they're actually participating and doing it themselves, but you're there to guide them and to be a support for them so that there aren't any accidents in the process. And then of course, as the candles are lit and if they're staying on display, you want to have it out of reach of the children so that later on when you're not there, they don't touch something or knock it over when you are out of sight. I think that's a great idea and congratulations to you. Okay, it looks like we have another question coming in on the website. This question is from Tim. Hi, doctor. Our toddler loves helping bake cookies, especially during the holidays, but I've heard raw dough can be dangerous. Is that legit? Well, all of us love raw cookie dough. I mean, we have to admit it is absolutely delicious, but the fact that it does have raw eggs as a main ingredient, yes, that is dangerous, and you don't want your toddler consuming a product that has raw eggs. As you know, there is a risk for contamination with E. coli or salmonella, and you certainly don't want a young child getting E. coli or salmonella. So if you could please avoid letting your child eat the raw cookie dough, please do so, and promise them that once the cookies are ready, it's well worth the wait. Have fun. Okay, so here's a question coming in from Facebook, and it's from Isabel. Hi, doctor. We may be an old-fashioned family, but we really love to go caroling around the holidays. We generally go as a family, but this year our middle school kids want to go caroling with their friends. What do you think? I'm a little concerned about their safety because it gets dark so early this time of year. Well, that's amazing that you like to go caroling, and I think that's great that the tweens are also still doing it. I would say absolutely let them go with their friends. Like I said, with the trick or treating, it's almost the same idea. You want to go in a big group so that everybody's looking out for each other. They all have a buddy. You want to go to a neighborhood that you're familiar with, maybe a neighborhood where someone from the group either lives in that neighborhood or they have a neighbor, or they have friends. Maybe it's a neighborhood of one of your close family friends. Just a neighborhood that's not completely foreign to them, I think is important. And then again, you want to make sure it's well lit and there is access to major artery streets, and you want to make sure it's not in a high traffic flowed area because you certainly don't want a lot of cars coming through during those times. And also you don't want to go caroling during after work hours, which would be high traffic hours. So maybe between 5 and 7 when people are still coming home from work, and they might cut through the small streets trying to avoid traffic. So it'd just be just like a high traffic area. So you want to maybe avoid those times, go to well-lit neighborhoods, and maybe go to a neighborhood that you do know, so that if there is ever any type of altercation or a concern, at least you possibly know somebody in that neighborhood where you can go to their house and ask for help. But have fun caroling. I think that's great. Hopefully you come to my neighborhood. Okay, if you want to submit your questions, please do so. And if you don't know how to send them to me, here's how to do it.
Send in your questions to questions@allhealthtv.com or AllHealthGo on Facebook or YouTube, or visit the Ask the Doc page on our website, allhealthtv.com.
Well, I didn't realize that everybody had so many questions about the holidays and keeping safe and some of the risks that are involved when we get together as a family. And I'm happy to answer them. So here's another question coming in. This is from Colette. Hi, Dr. C. As parents of a child with celiac disease, what steps can or should we take to keep our boys safe during Thanksgiving, especially when we're not the ones preparing most of the food? Oh, that's a great question, Colette. I know it's really hard when there is a gluten sensitivity or an intolerance. because many of the ingredients, of course, contain gluten. It depends on how comfortable you feel with the host family. If you feel comfortable enough explaining to them that your child does have gluten intolerance and does need some gluten-free options, I think that's number one. The best thing for you to do is, ask them if they've created any options or side dishes that are gluten-free, but also it's great to be a contributor. Why don't you bring in a wonderful dish that is safe for your child and also can be a contribution to the dinner? I think that's the best way to diplomatically make certain that your child has a meal that's safe for them. Of course, the turkey will be just fine, so you really just need one or two sides, to be safe. It looks like we have a question now coming in from Facebook. This is from Boaz. Dr. Constant, our child has very difficult time adjusting to loud noise. Unfortunately, we live in a neighborhood where the folks enjoy setting off fireworks for both New Year's Eve and the 4th of July. We'd appreciate any advice that you can share. Oh, I know how difficult that can be. It depends on Boaz's age, but I would start preparing him for the fact that the holidays are near, and on that night, whichever night in particular, they might hear a lot of noise. And you explain what it is and explain the time so that they know it's coming. Maybe you could play some white noise in their room so it can buffer that sound a bit and help with that. And you can also, if they're very scared, you can have them sit in your room and maybe distract them. You can play games, sing and dance and make noise of your own together to distract them during the period of time that the fireworks are actually going off. And then usually they resolve, and then you would put them to bed after the fact. But I think that is usually the easiest way, is distraction, your own noises in the house, white noise, and of course, preparation. As always, I always try to emphasize preparing your child, having a healthy discussion with them, and letting them know what is coming to them. Okay, so here's another question from the All Health TV app. This is from Lewis. Hi, Dr. Constant. Our preteen wants to help decorate Easter eggs with dyes and glitter. Are these materials safe, or do parents need to be cautious about certain products? Lewis, I think that's really sweet that your preteen still wants to decorate eggs. That's so much fun, and I'd say keep that tradition going in your house. It's a wonderful bonding experience for the parents and the kids, and it's also great that the tweens can do it with younger children and maybe pass that tradition down to them. So I absolutely recommend that you continue doing it, and thankfully a lot of these products are now so safe. A lot of these products have been made to protect children against accidental ingestion. They are no longer, most materials are no longer made with lead. So I think that thankfully your child is safe and can use these products and get them on their hands and not really have anything much to worry about. Okay, it looks like we have a couple more questions. Let's see. Florette, bonjour, Dr. Constant. My tween wants to help carve the turkey this year. Is there a safe way to teach knife skills during the holidays, or should we stick to a safer kitchen tasks? Florette, I absolutely recommend that you stick to safe kitchen tasks. Have her help with something else, whether it's garnishing, whether it's the presentation. But carving the turkey should be reserved for someone that's very comfortable with a good blade. Usually around Thanksgiving and other big holidays, we like to bring out our best and most expensive knives that are so sharp that they could slice through anything. So I don't think that's the time for you to really experiment with your teen carving a turkey. It can be very difficult. Turkeys are very big, they're very hot. You need someone that is skilled, that knows what they're doing, and should actually do it away from the rest of the family. And tell your daughter, thank you, but no thank you. She could do something else in the kitchen. Okay, we have time for just a couple more questions if you want to send them in. Looks like we have another one. This is from Sabrina. Hi, Doc. My toddler wants to eat every Halloween candy in sight, wrappers included. What are the most common Halloween treats that pose choking risks or allergy problems for little ones? Oof, so there are a lot of Halloween treats that cause choking risks, such as the now and laters, the little hard candies like Jolly Ranchers and other hard candies that you would suck on. I would definitely keep those away from your toddler. Any of the chocolates that have peanut butter or peanuts or well, not the crunch, but any type of nuts, Those will pose, of course, risk for allergies, and you certainly want to avoid those. If your child has never been exposed to tree nuts yet, you definitely want to avoid that. You also want to avoid some of the chewy candies because sometimes they don't chew them properly and they're like the taffies and things like that, and they might swallow like a large piece of it. So I would say stay to your traditional small candies that they can chew and swallow that don't have nuts or tree nuts or peanut butter. That's usually going to be your best bet. Well, I didn't realize that there were so many questions about this, but I hope I was able to help. I would like everyone to have a fun and safe and happy holiday. And please remember to keep small objects out of sight. Keep an eye on your young children to make sure they don't get into anything that they shouldn't. And make sure your tweens, while empowered and independent, are also looking out for each other, watching over their shoulder, and being safe. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Send in your questions to questions@allhealthtv.com or AllHealthGo on Facebook or YouTube, or visit the Ask the Doc page on our website, allhealthtv.com.
Funding for this program was brought to you by Michael J. Zinner, MD,